You're listening to Cancer Convos with Brady and Stacy.
Welcome to another edition of Cancer Convos with Brady and Stacy, sponsored by Chelsea Smith Cosmetics and Bismarck Cancer Center. I'm Bob Brady.
I'm Stacy Sturm.
And here we are again. My radiation's done. We're going to do a quick update of what we're doing.
Yeah.
You and I. That's what we're going to start with. My radiation treatments are done. I did 15. Excuse me, as I start to cough again. 15.
Are you sure they're done?
Oh, God. I did. I said that when I left. I said, hey, I like seeing you people every day because it's good to talk to people, but I don't want to see you again. I'm just done.
I hope we never meet again.
Yeah, I've graduated more from the MD Anderson Cancer Center than anywhere else in my life. Oh, did you get that?
I don't know. Forum Energy. It's probably a telemarketer. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think my number got sold somewhere.
We're reaching out about your extended warranty. So I've graduated twice from the MD Cancer Center for Banner Health here in Phoenix. It's just they asked if I wanted to ring the bell. When I was done, like you ring the bell 3 times for whatever, and I was like, "Nah, I rang it last time. I gave you that. I'm not doing it again." And I was. She's like, "I understand." I didn't want to be like a Debbie Downer, but I was like, "I did this already. Like I've been through this. I can't help it."
I had the same kind of experience. So they don't have a bell where I went. Like they don't have the cancer bell that everybody rings.
Yeah.
And so my doctor just brought me a coffee and is like, you're good.
All right.
So I'm like, perfect, because I feel like it's too optimistic to ring the bell. Is that bad?
Yeah.
I'm an optimistic person, but I feel like
Me too.
it's too optimistic, like saying it's gone forever. And I don't want to ring it. I don't want to be the person that rings it and then 3 months later has to be back in chemo. Like I did that. Yeah.
And it's not gone. Like it's still in there. The radiation's still working today as we speak. It's still working to get rid of not only the one tumor on my right side, now the new tumor. I can't even say it. New tumor on my left. I'm so excited. So I didn't ring the bell, and the girl, her name is Morgan. She's like, you don't have to. Some people don't. I said, I've been through this twice now. Like I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm a glass half full guy. I really am. Probably about middle, maybe a little bit less than half. But anyway, so that's done. I have a follow-up appointment in a month. Doctor said I didn't need to show up because it's not going to show anything. And then I have a scan in August. And that'll see what's going on, and hopefully it's gone, and whatever. But I feel tired. My breathing sucks because I do something like in the backyard for 5 minutes and I got to sit down and cough.
Yeah.
Because as I don't know if anybody knows, but both those tumors are, moving in on my airway, in my lungs. So it's blocking stuff up. So I start coughing and I hack. And McKenna's moving this week. She wants to help. So even Heather this morning sent a text and she goes, your dad's of no help. I'm like, I can do stuff. I'll bring my inhaler, because I really am. Like if I do like any kind of physical work, like I said, for like 5 minutes, I get when to walk up the steps.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much. Anyway, that's me.
Yeah, it's crazy how much you use those lungs. Like
I gotta breathe. And they've asked too, like they said, hey, do you want to use an air tank? I'm like, no.
Be that dude that carries
no. Can you imagine? No. Like my grandpa had that when he was in his 70s and 80s. That's all I can picture.
You don't need that when you're 50. Yeah.
No. I don't want it. Like I'll just collapse. But you had I'll just fall over. Let me just lay down. But you had a big a surgery a week and a half ago too. Another one.
It's just another. Another
go in
surgery. So when you do
these surgeries, is it outpatient or do you have to stay?
Yeah.
Like, is it so?
Mm-hmm. I stay until I pee because it's it's a kidney thing. So once I pee, I can go. I'm just kind of used to it. In fact, I have like a punch card. In fact, this is funny. I think my next tattoo I'm getting is going to be my doctor's signature on my arm where they mark the side they're operating on. You know how they come in and they're like, they scribble their initials. Like this is the side. This is the operating side. This is the side we need to work on. And so it's always the same, and it's on for like a week. Like that is stuck on there, man. I scrub it and scrub it and scrub it. So I think the next tattoo I'm getting is Dr. Churchenko's like
Right there.
initials on my arm. So next surgery in 3 months, I'll be like, we're good. You don't even need
You don't need to sign anything.
You don't even need to mark it. We're just good with it.
I thought that
Yeah.
I thought that too when I was doing my radiation. Like they kept marking me up with Sharpie markers, and I'm thinking this stuff's toxic. Like, why are you writing all over my body with this? Like, I don't understand. Like, I already have cancer, but you don't have to mark me up anymore. Come on. They probably think that too. Oh, you already got this. The cancer.
So what's the worst that can happen? You're gonna get cancer?
What's a little ink poisoning? Come on.
But yeah, so
Nothing.
so my surgery is and I've talked about this a couple times. I have scar tissue left over from my major surgery that I had, not this December, but last December. And when they took out the tumors, I got a lot of scar tissue that has now grown from that spot and is trying to choke out my organs. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, we want to wrap around these organs. We want some place to go. So it's trying to choke out my ureter. So, and that's the tube that goes from your kidneys to your bladder. Just,
Okay.
I could pass an anatomy class now like that. If I
Yeah.
were to take this, if I were to take an anatomy class or any kind of like, I don't know, any kind of science-y class, I feel like I would probably ace that. I have no idea where my organs were really kind of until I had cancer. But so the scar tissue is trying to choke out my ureter. So they have to go in and they have to clear that around and then put a stent up to make sure my
Oh.
ureter stays open and it can stay against the weight of the scar tissue that's trying to. So yeah.
So that's why you have to pee before you leave.
Yeah. They have to make sure
So
it's
then
working.
it works. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So that I just get that every 3 to 4 months. I go in for surgery and it just is what it is, you know. They go in through your ureter like a catheter and they push it up there. It's not bad. Like honestly, I usually can, after I'm done with the procedure, I pretty much take an hour here, go get breakfast, relax a little bit, and then I'm on with my day. Like I really don't like if I had to take off. No, they put you under.
Okay, God.
I think the hardest thing about the surgeries has not been the surgery or the recovery from the surgery, because I did not know how badass my body was until I had to have a surgery like every 3 or 4 months. I've had surgeries and procedures so many times, and I usually within a day, good, I'm in. By the end of the day, I'm fine. I'm cleaning the house. I'm catching up on work, returning my emails, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But I no longer know my name. Like I have no idea who I am.
You need to get it tattooed. No, next to Dr. Churchenko's.
Tattooed on my brain is fried. So you know how they talk about like chemo fog, chemo brain.
Yeah.
At first I thought it was my pills still causing that. You know, I had the chemo and then now I have the chemo pills. I thought that might be why I'm kind of like lapsing on words like, what's this thing here? It's called, the talkie thing, microphone. Oh yeah, the microphone. And I think it's the anesthesia. I've had anesthesia 12 times this year, like 12 times since last January, and like a year and a half. I've had anesthesia 12 times. I don't think that's good for your brain. I don't think
it's probably not.
I don't think that's good for your brain at all. But what do I know? Because I'm stupid from anesthesia.
Yeah, they're not going to tell you, hey, this gal's stupid. We've got her all hopped up on anesthesia. Woo. Yeah.
So I think that is the worst side effect is I am just weird for like a good week after. I'll have weird things. I don't know if it's just me or if other people that have had a lot of anesthesia, a lot of surgeries and procedures have gone through this, but my brain will get focused in on weird things. Like last night, I played a game before bed to try to relax. And my doctor said that a good thing to do is just do games to try to like, keep my brain fresh,
Yeah.
do some trivia. I play song pop, like quick thinking games.
Yeah.
I play a game where you try to like, it's like a Candy Crush game where you match the things and then they explode and that thing. So I played that before bed and all night, and I could feel my brain was really liking this. And all night I played that goddamn game in my head. Like my sleep.
Oh.
I was like half asleep most of the night, and my brain was continuing to replay this game over and over and over and over. So I've noticed my brain gets super hyper fixated on things and just forgets everything else. Just
Wow.
I
I don't know
am
that.
I'm like a savant now. I have no clue. I I'm really good at one thing, and that's about it. Everything else is lost. I can't multitask anymore. So this is the most frustrating thing because I'm handling often 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 projects at one time. And then people will come in, they'll walk in and they're like, "Hey, can I run this idea by you? Can I have a meeting about this? Can I have a meeting about that?" And if I don't finish what I'm doing, I'll just forget.
Done.
And I used to be really good at that, at juggling that. And I'm frustrated because I'm not like if so I have to tell people, sure, I'll meet with you in 1 minute. But if I don't send this email right now, it will
You'll
never
forget.
happen. And then I'll get a call from somebody and they'll be like, "Hey, you know that email you were supposed to send me 2 weeks ago? Never got it." I'm like, because I didn't send it. Yeah, I didn't send it.
They say if you're going to do one thing, do it well. And that's what you got.
That's what I got.
You're just doing one thing at a time.
Oh,
Yeah, and
yeah.
that's why we're here. And I also I talked to my doctor about cancer convos.
Yeah.
And she said she's gonna tell the patients about it because I said it's a really laid back, lame show. Me and my former morning partner used to be a show, and now we
Yeah.
both have cancer, and we just go on and talk about it. So if anybody that Dr. Clayton sent to listen to the show on Spotify, welcome because
Welcome. We welcome you. Yeah.
yeah, it's just a place to hang out and chat about our journeys, and we've had guests in the past, so listen back to previous episodes and get some more info there. We have some great guests in the past, by the way, so it's good stuff.
And I just started loading our shows up onto our TikTok channel, Cancer Combos. So there's
Oh,
little clips. If you go to Cancer Convos, if you search Cancer Combos on TikTok, you'll see we have a channel, and I'm taking 3-4 minute segments from our shows and then feeding them on to TikTok.
you're amazing. You're a regular old TikTok
Uh-huh.
queen.
I am. I have to say that's probably the number one thing I get requests for marketing now. People want
TikTok?
help. People want help getting their TikToks set up and learning about TikTok and how do they do the videos and what's the best way to do it and what's the best way to get reach. Yep.
I'm on TikTok. I did a magic trick and it did really well. Yeah, I did a magic trick. Um,
Oh,
my TikTok name, or is it the handle? What is it? Is it your name?
it's
Your
her
handle?
TikTok name. Yeah.
Yeah, it's is wasting time on social media. Uh, and I've had that for a while. No one's ever
Yeah.
tried to steal it. So there's that. But yeah, check out our
Oh,
TikTok page. We have a lot of stuff going on. TikTok, Spotify, of course, You're All Radio. You can listen to that anytime. YourAllRadio.net. Good stuff.
yep. All of our
You
shows
want
are
us to bring
loaded
our
up there.
our
Yes.
guest in? Okay.
Yeah. Why don't you introduce our guest since I
Hang
think you
on.
know a
I'm
little
gonna
bit about
share a
her?
microphone with her. Hang on. I'm gonna give her one of my earphones.
Okay.
It's
Hey.
my super hot wife Heather. So she's dealt with me with my cancer stuff since of course 2014. So what has your journey been like with being the wife of a guy that has thyroid cancer?
Okay, well, I think that everyone. Oh, it's so high. Look how short I am. No, I mean, I think that everyone's situation is different, and just like you two and 100 other people have different experiences when it comes to what you're going through. It's the same for us too, right? Like at first it's the same like panic and worry and all of that. And now, like, I hate to say it, but it has just become a part of our life. Like it's just one of something else that goes on. We have we have to go to the grocery store, and we have to make time for Bob to go to radiation. Like, and it just, but there are so many times where sometimes it's an easy time, right? Like where you don't think about it a lot. And other times it's in front of your face and you think about it all the time. And I know, Stacey, you and I have talked about this before too, that like, even with his kind of cancer, which everyone always is quick to remind us is like the good cancer.
The best cancer you can get. Yeah.
I know. And it still comes with like a bajillion dollars in medical bills, right?
Yeah.
So that alone is so much to stress and worry about. And, you know, between surgeries and treatments and whatever, you just like, yes, of course, we're thankful for good insurance, but no insurance ever covers all of it. And so it's just a lot of different kinds of worries and stresses. And but yeah.
So when Bob was first diagnosed, what was your reaction?
Gosh, I'll never forget. I was sitting in a meeting at the TV station in Cleveland that I was working for, and he tried to call me, and I couldn't answer the call because I was in the meeting. And so he texted me, I have cancer. I was like, oh, like that's a so.
Hey, I can't get a hold of you.
So I'm like,
okay,
oh my God,
like
my
could have
stomach
waited.
dropped. I know, right? And I think I don't even remember if I was able to text him first to just say like, in the meeting, be done soon or something. And he texted me that. So I walked out of the meeting and like, I was like, okay, I'll be back. And called him, and yeah. And I just like, you know, when something like that happens, of course, like myself too, I'm an emotional person. So I lead with emotion. So everything that I felt was overly emotional. But since then, it is funny because like every time it keeps kind of creeping back, or he needs more treatments, or it's not that I've stopped worrying or stopped being scared or stopped, but it's just, like I said, it just feels like it becomes just something else that I'm worried about. I know that sounds bad, but I also feel like you have to compartmentalize some of this. And if I walked around every hour of the day being stressed and worried and sad, and, you know, that's not a way to live either. So we have to get to the point where it's like, this is just part of our life now. And this is how we live our life. We live our life with a lot of doctor's appointments and medical bills. And, you know, so I guess in my mind, I just keep thinking, this is how we're going to cruise along in life. Like that it probably won't get any better. I hope it doesn't get any worse. And it just becomes something else.
Do you know what's funny is I laugh that you texted Heather. I texted all my friends too when I got cancer. Yeah. I just put them in a like a text group text.
I remember that because we got that.
You guys were in my group text, and I was like, and here's why I did. I think this is probably kind of why you did it too. I didn't want to have the conversation yet. I just didn't. Yeah. So I threw it out there to let them know that I had been diagnosed and what I was going through. And this is kind of the basics of it. But then that was it. I wanted to give them the courtesy of letting them know what I was going through, because I know people care about me and they're my friends and they love me. But I didn't want to call 50 people and have that freaking conversation over and over and over, because I didn't know what to say and I didn't know what I wanted to say. And so I just felt if I could just take a minute to just kind of compose something and throw it out there, it would just kind of, then I could have the conversations later with individual people as I saw them or as they brought me stuff, or I just didn't want to have to go through that initially. And my friend Melissa called me. My friend Melissa and my friend Heather called me right after, and they're like, did you just really text me that you had cancer? Like, what the hell? I'm like, here's the deal. I just really don't want to talk about it right now. There's not much to say right now. I just wanted to let you guys know. And I'm sure we're going to have 100 different conversations about it
Right.
as time goes on. I didn't want to have that 100. I didn't want to have separate conversations with everybody. So I could see
Well,
why.
and a topic for a different day is I feel like in the last just even week or so, I have had conversations with people of what I would call scares, right? Like things they found,
Yeah.
you know, got something happened medically that then turned into a scan that then turned into a follow-up appointment. And I feel like my room is getting smaller, right? Like I feel like all these people that I love in my life and
Yeah.
the cancer's just creeping in. That's a topic for another day. But my one family member who had something happen, thankfully, was not the doctor is positive it's not cancer, so he's not rushing the surgery. Um, but she said too that she got to the point where she called, the important people, and for her it
Yeah.
was like 10 people or whatever. But that every time she said it the same way, right? Like the same 5 sentences. This is what happened. This is what they found, and this is what's going to happen
Yep.
next. And I think that helped her, right? So I think as everyone goes through it, we all deal with it differently. And for her, telling people the same thing 10 times at the end of it kind of was like, okay, it's real. I've said it. And as I told her too, that when you hear different responses back, that also helps you process it because that's how I process, right? I'm an open
Mhm.
book. No secrets over here. I tell everyone everything. And so to get that reaction from someone else who might say something that you didn't think of, who might say something that really does make you feel better. And,
Mhm.
so, but you never know how you're going to react until it happens.
Yeah. When I got back from the doctor, my boyfriend knew, like you knew, Bob was going in for tests. My boyfriend knew I was going in for tests. And then when I came back, I told him, I'm like, I'm they don't have to call me. I know it's cancer. And then he was like, no, I'm sure it's fine. But I could see he was really worried. He knew it probably was too, but he was trying to downplay it. And then I think if the tables were turned, if he were to tell me, like, you know, I, I'm pretty sure I have cancer. They just ran a bunch of tests. They don't need to tell me, though. I know I have cancer. I would probably be like freaking out. Like I'd probably really be freaking out about it. But yet I I've been I've been through it. But if he were to tell me now that he has
Right.
cancer, I'd be like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Is it going to be okay? What's going to be going on?" Like, I don't know if I would handle it like he handled it. And I actually did come back and I apologized because have you guys seen The Room? The terrible Tommy Wiseau movie, The Room?
No.
Okay. So there's one golden line in there where just out of nowhere, the mom says to her daughter, so I got the test back. I definitely have cancer. I definitely have breast cancer. And it's the most out of place, funniest thing in the movie. I laughed my butt off. So then I came back and I apologized to him the next day. I said, I have to apologize for something. And he said, what? I said, I should have told you. The tests are back. I definitely have the breast cancer. He goes, yeah, how come you didn't break it to me that way? That's not cool. I expected more from you. I'm like, I know, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in myself too. Yeah.
Well, and I always think too with the sorry,
No, you're fine.
but with like having someone else like for Bob and for me, I'm the question asker.
Mhm.
I'm the one who wants to solve everything right away by asking 100 questions. And I feel like Bob just kind of like floats through his meetings,
I do
his
too.
appointments.
Yeah, that's me too. I'm just like,
um
whatever.
yeah, and so at first he was like, you have to come to everything with me because because he would come home and I'd be like, well, what did they say about this and this and this? I don't know. I'm like, I feel like this is something important that
Yeah.
they should have said or probably did say or whatever. So there for a while too, I think that that's what, your person, your family, anyone, that's their job, depending on how, of course, they react. Like I had people reach out to me to say, go get this notebook, go get this folder, keep
Right.
everything organized. And And as much as I like to ask a lot of questions, I actually don't organize things very well. So like I didn't keep a folder or thing. I just had like post-it notes everywhere that I wrote down. But
Yeah.
you know, I think that each person knows what they need, and hopefully their spouse or their person or their family knows what they need, and what then they also need. I had one of my best friends from high school lost her husband to cancer, and I leaned on her a lot just for the general, like, something else is happening. She's constantly checking in with me, and it really helps to just have, even though, their cases are so different,
Mm-hmm.
and the outcome is so different, it's still just someone who understands and someone who has been there, and just to know the big feelings that are being felt. And so it does help that to have other people. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people now in this, right? Like there's a lot of people that it's touching, and it's
Yeah.
fairly easy, sad to say, to find someone to talk to.
Well, I agree too. Same thing. And I don't know if Bob did the same thing when he got diagnosed, but as soon as I got diagnosed, I wanted to read stories, but talk to people that had gone through cancer, read stories about people that have battled ovarian cancer and what do I expect and what was their experience, and what's kind of coming down the pike for me, and the success stories especially. I was not about reading all of the stories about like, this is my last journal, which is super sad, but I didn't want to read that right now. I wanted to hear all the success stories and kind of set myself up for that as well. So I think you're right. It helps if you have something or somebody you can relate to a story, which is why I really wanted to do this podcast with Bob too, is because I'm hoping our stories will resonate with somebody else too. And somebody that has just been diagnosed, and they can watch these videos and say, yep, been there. And I see now that you guys are okay. Kind of. I mean, we're kind of okay.
We're not okay in the head.
We're not okay in the head. I just talked about that. But the fact that we're still alive and we've been through it, and kind of showing that other people can too. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Heather, for stopping in. We appreciate you swinging the chair over to the
Thanks,
other side of
Heather.
the office.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking the commute. Yeah.
Yeah, she took a long commute to get here, and it took a long time, but here she was. Yeah, you're right. Like when I found out, like I don't think I only called Heather because like I didn't have anybody else to call. Like I have my parents, everything, but to be quite honest, that's the only person I wanted to call. I just wanted to call her.
Yeah.
Because that's my wife, like I want to tell her before I told anybody else. That's why I texted out, and I think I was probably more texting out of anger. Is like, why are you not available right now? Like, what is going on that is so much more important than me having cancer?
Well, she didn't expect you that was going to be the call.
Well, and here's the thing too, is that like my doctor called me and told me on the phone I had cancer.
That's what
I didn't go into a visit. Like he called me and said, yeah, you have thyroid cancer. Like so matter of factly, like, oh my God. So I remember I was sitting on my kitchen, I fell to the floor. Like I slid down the floor, I started crying. Like I don't, whether thyroid cancer or ovarian cancer, pain, whatever it is, I have cancer.
It's cancer. Yeah.
And yeah. So you just think, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Whatever. Was 2014, so it was 9 years ago. I was, 42. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die by 45. You're thinking, I have 2 kids, I have 3 kids, what am I gonna do? So that's what it was. But yeah, it is. It's Heather's right. Like you have somebody to lean on them, whether it's, good, bad, or otherwise, especially if they've been through it. They know all the stories, they know all the heartbreak and everything. They all know all the medical bills. They know the insurance companies suck. They all know they know all of that. So just share. And that's, like you said, that's why we do this podcast, because we want people to come and listen to our stories, of course, but we also share other people's stories. We're going to have more guests on, and just as a spot to just sit here and go, for 30, 45 minutes and think, yeah, we're going to be okay. We'll be fine. At the end of the day.
And I know it seems hard when you're going through it. And we talk about our journeys. I know everybody's different. Like I was super blessed that my chemotherapy went well. I was able to participate in life. I know that's not the story for a lot of people, but there are some commonalities I think that we all share It's the fear. It's the constant thoughts about like your life is now cancer. It's beating it. It's making sure it doesn't come back. And then when people find out you have cancer, they want to talk to you after they've been diagnosed. Like when we had Cam on last week, and I remember a month or so ago when he found out, he called me right away because he knew that I knew, you know what I mean? He wanted to talk to somebody about it, and he wasn't telling many people yet. And I've had a lot of those conversations with people that have just been newly diagnosed. Your whole life in a way does become, I'm constantly reminded every time I know I have these amazing wigs and I look not bad today. Like I could go out to a tea party. I'm kind of rocking it, but
a tea party.
Yeah, that's what somebody said. They're like, "Oh, you look like you're going to a tea party," because I have a really pretty flowered dress on today, and the makeup's done, and it looks like I'm gonna.
I don't know if that was a compliment. Yeah, I don't know what the. You're going to a tea party. What am I, 6?
Or brunch, maybe a brunch. Like I look like I could be brunching, but it's a constant reminder when I have to take my pills twice a day. I have to take ibuprofen because my kidneys hurt. I'm in constant pain, and it's not ever going to go away. It's a constant reminder that I had cancer. When I have to put on this wig, or when I put on the wig, or when I decide, am I just going to wear my natural hair today, short and kind of patchy, I had cancer. You know, it's like your life. It's a constant reminder that you had cancer. Scars. I have scars all over my body now. So you just kind of find a new normal, and you just kind of start to learn to deal with it, and you can't beat yourself up about it. I find when I'm forgetting emails or forgetting to do stuff, I'm like, oh, and then people say, hey, give yourself some grace. You literally just had surgery. Literally just had surgery like 3 days ago. Why don't you give yourself a little bit of grace that you didn't get the email off when you should have, you know? So it's just kind of learning how to deal with it all the time. It's a struggle.
And the bad part is that once you get free of it, say, hey, I'm cancer free.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's gone. Like it can come back. Like it's just crazy. You know, you can survive it and be your thing, but you always have that in the back of your mind. Well, what if it comes back?
Yeah.
What, you know, it's that what if. It's, you know, hey, just think positive. Okay. You know, it's not easy.
And I do 95% of the time.
Yes.
But I think there's a 4% of the time where you're only human, and you're going to think negative thoughts, or you're going to be slightly depressed, or you're going to be anxious, or, you know, you're just going to have those bad days.
What's next? Yeah. You know, you're right. It's almost that.
Yeah.
All right, another great cancer convos with Brady and Stacy down, sponsored by our friends at Chelsea Smith Cosmetics and Bismarck Cancer Center. If you want to sponsor the show, which we know you do, because why wouldn't you? Get in touch with Stacy. You can email her at stacy@urlradio.net. You can also call her in North Dakota. What's the number over there?
701-751-0838. 701-751-0838.
There you go. So get on the stick, as my grandma used to say. Get on the stick and get something done. All right. All right. Have a great week.
All right. You too.
You're listening to Cancer Convos with Brady and Stacy.